Hi, everybody. It's Kathy Andes. I just jumping on about a minute early to make sure you can see me and hear me okay. If you are joining me live, please let me know if you can hear me and see me without any difficulties. I'm just want to make sure if you're joining me from Facebook or from YouTube that everything is okay for you to see. Um, so I'm Kathy Ondas. I'm with Simply Cards by Kathy, and it is Friday, June the 10th, 2022. And thank you for joining me for Friday Fun at One. If you're here with me live, I'm excited that you're joining me. And if you get to watch this or you choose to watch it on a replay, thank you very much. So today we're going to do something a little different, and it actually stemmed from one of my customers having ordered a stamp set, or actually a suite. It was the a Wash and Beauty suite. And when she got her designer series paper, she said to me, I'm not sure how to use these two pieces of paper. So I'm going to show you that today as to what you can do with those two pieces of paper, because I remember relating to that a couple years back when I got a piece of paper similar with a lot of white in the center, and I was like, what do I do with this? So today I'm going to show you that. And I'm also going to show you how to make 6 cards out of one piece of designer series paper that's 12 by 12. So this is 3 of the 6 cards we're going to make. And I'm just going to move those off to the side. And I'm going to bring in the catalog real quick to show you what I'm using and where you can find it. So all of the greetings that we're using today are from Go-To Greetings, and it's in the annual catalog on page 26. I absolutely love these because I use a lot of just notes, thank you, happy birthday, thinking of you, and I love the different fonts and the different sizes available for you to use. So that's one of the stamp sets we're going to use. Now today we aren't using a stamp set from a Wash and Beauty, but what we are is we're focusing on the designer series paper. And the paper is a Wash and Beauty. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets. You get 6 different designs, 2 sheets of each. And then the last thing that we're going to use is the Lasting Label Punch, and that's on page 152. It is actually sold separately, but it also comes as part as the Lovely and Lasting bundle. So let me move this off to the side, and I want to bring in the designer series paper for you. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors in it. And I love the designs. So this is one of them. Here's another. The one coming up, this is actually, you can cut from the dies that's part of the True Beauty bundle. These. And then this is the paper we're going to focus on, because this is the questions I get. Well, what do I do with the designs on both ends and the white in the middle? And I'm going to show you just how to use that. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and show you exactly what I did to do those 3 cards. And we're going to do 3 others that'll be quick and easy to make. So my card base is going to be a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Now don't bother remembering all of these measurements, because you can will find them right down below the video about an hour after I'm done. So we're going to start off with this 12 by 12 piece, and I am going to cut it right down the middle, which is along the white at 6 inches. Now, my next piece for this is going to be 3 3/4. I'm going to move this up so you can see it. It's going to be 3 3/4 by 5. But we're not going to trim it just quite yet at the 5. So 3 3/4, 3 3/4, and then you have another piece, and we're going to leave that. And we're going to do the same with this other half. So you now have enough for 6 cards. These are layers, and I'm going to show you what I brought in. So this is how you'll cut them, which will be enough for 6 cards. You have 2 pieces that are a little bit larger that I did trim down, and 4 that are 3 3/4. So I'm going to set those off to the side, and I'm going to bring in my first card. Now, when I'm doing my colors, I always try to go pick colors that come from the paper. And this paper is so beautiful. I really had a hard time cutting it. But this incorporates Balmy Blue, Blushing Bride, which isn't really in this one piece of paper, Calypso Coral, Granny Apple Green, Mary Merlot, Mossy Meadow, Polished Pink, which isn't in here either, and So Saffron. So what I did is I wanted to make some quick, easy cards focusing on this designer paper. So we're going with 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and fold into the hill and burnish with my bone folder. So let me bring this in. And make sure that I get a good crease here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I decided this one would be So Saffron. So this is cut at 4 5 1/4, and I'm going to flip this over because I didn't do a very good job at scoring that evenly, and you can see it's just a little bit longer. Now I could run that through my trimmer, but I'm just going to put it over on the back side. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to layer it. That's going to be 1 layer, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. So that's my second layer. So let's go ahead and adhere those with some multi-purpose glue. And each card is going to look just a little bit different. So I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend, and hopefully some of it involves some time for crafting and relaxing or family time. This has should have an edge, and the reason I use the multi-purpose glue is because it does allow me to, if I don't pick it up or slide it around. And then we're going to adhere this right onto the front. And again, I just want a nice even edge as much as possible around the front. And then with this one, I am going to stamp right on that white area, very much like I did on this one. And I'm going to use Just a Note, and I'm going to use my Tuxedo Black. You have such a nice big white space here that it allows you to use a bigger, bolder stamp on it and kind of catch attention. So we're going to go ahead with this and just going to go down and stamp right in the middle. And I did get a little bit, you can see I pressed just a little too hard, but we're going to cover that up. So initially I was going to use the black and white gingham ribbon, and I wasn't really happy with it as much. So then I thought the brass butterflies looked really pretty with all the flowers. So since I did press too hard and leave a mark there, I'm going to cover that with a brass butterfly. And then I'm going to add two more, one here, and let's add another little one. I'm going to put it right in the middle of the flowers. Now for my inside, you could do a couple things. One is you could take a matching strip of designer of the cardstock, which is the So Saffron, and you could run it along here with some glue, trim that off. And then I just took a piece of the leftover paper and cut it much smaller just to give it a little accent line. The other option is to take a piece of the Designer Series paper that matched and run it along the side. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. Now I'm not going to stamp a greeting. I oftentimes do not stamp my greetings on the inside ahead of time, and I wait to see the reason I'm sending them and who I'm sending them to before I do that. So I have I have an old scissors, an old Stampin' Up! Scissors that I use for things that are sticky, like cutting Stampin' Dimensionals, or if I'm trimming paper that's been glued. So here's our first card with the So Saffron using the brushed butterflies, and then just a matching strip that goes on the inside. So let's put that off to the side, and we're going to bring in our second card. And this card is done in Calypso Coral. Again, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And we're going to go ahead and just give it a good burnishing so that it lays flat. And the Calypso Coral is the same, 4 by 5 1/4. And then I chose a piece of paper that had the Calypso Coral flower in it. So let's go ahead and adhere this. These are such quick, fun cards to make. And in the end, you have 6 of them. And each one looks a little bit different. Now, next week, I am going to focus on cards for Father's Day. So hopefully you'll join me Monday night at 7 p.m. And I will probably be adding a third video on Wednesday, and then again on Friday at 1. So we're going to focus this in right in the middle here. And then this is just a piece of 1 inch, and I'm not sure about how long it is, but it will be in the video. And this is a piece of 3 3 3/4. So I just want a little bit less of the Calypso Coral on the end. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm just going to take just a touch off. It's just a little bit more than I want. There we go. And I'm going to use multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to adhere that, but then I'm going to pop it up with Stampin' Dimensionals on the card. slide that down a little bit. And let's bring in our Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm just going to put one on each end, and always put one in the middle so that it doesn't kind of sag. And I actually have two here, so let's use that one. And we're going to put these on. If you are new to stamping, or you don't have a catalog, just hit that button up at the top on the lower right, and it will take you over to my website. I would be happy. Just hit the contact me, and I'd be happy to send you a catalog. Also, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to have the opportunity to help you with your stamping and crafting needs. Now I have again, this is a 1/4-inch strip of Calypso Coral that I'm just going to adhere down with multi-purpose glue and trim it off at the end. And then I have some strips of just the Designer Series paper from the bottom here. You can see it was trimmed right off there. And this is just about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to add a little multi-purpose glue. And I'm simply going to adhere it right in the middle of that strip. Bring it down a little bit. And here's our inside of our second card. Now let's add our butterflies here so that we can have them in the flowers. And when I add my embellishments, I always try to add 3, and I always try to go somehow in a triangle. And it doesn't matter what the triangle looks like, but just to give it a little bit more dimension or interest. So here's our second card. Now let's go on to the third card. Now again, this was what I did when I made the cards with these 2 larger pieces. I decided which of the flowers part I wanted, and then I trimmed them to 3 3/4 inch off the side, depending on what I wanted from that paper. So we're going to go ahead, and this one is using Mary Merlot, which I love. It's such a rich color. So we're going to just score this with our bone folder. I'm going to go ahead and adhere my Mary Merlot. Move it over a little bit more. There we go. And then this one really picked up the Mary Merlot, which was how I cut it from the one I just showed you. And with this, we're going to adhere this. Okay, now I am going to show you the punch. And we're going to punch out our thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up because this is one I did not stamp ahead of time. And I'm just going to turn it this way. Okay, and then we're going to take our punch, and if you've not used the punches before, they lock. So you open it up and then slide it in and position it where you want it. and then just punch it out. Now, ahead of time, I went and punched another one of these tags out in Mary Merlot, and I just took and cut it in half because I want to use it to add some interest to my tag. So what I'm going to do is add some glue right along the edge here, just at the top. And then I'm going to flip this over, and it doesn't really matter which side you start with, and it isn't going to match it up perfectly. You are going to see a little bit of the edges on the side, and I like that because I think it gives it some interest. I then go over and do the same at the bottom, just a little bit of glue. And here I'm going to position this one. And just add it there. So here's my thank you. I'm going to pop that up right over here off to the side with Stampin' Dimensionals. Again, one on actually each corner is what I meant to do. See if we can bring this one up. We can. And I'm just going to pop that here, and then this one here. I'm excited to tell you the new catalog, the mini catalog, is coming out, and some of you may, it's already in the mail and you may have gotten it. I just got mine, even though I've placed an order. And over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be giving you some sneak peeks of what's in that catalog and what you can do with it. Now, on the card I did here, and I'll be interested to see your reaction, I had added a black and white gingham ribbon. Once I added it, I wasn't so sure I liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my butterflies first. And I want one right up here. And I'm going to add another big one right over here. And let's do a little one right in the middle here. So I'm going to show you how I did the bow, and then we'll decide if we'll put it on. This is just 3 inches of ribbon. All I do is take and start like I'm making a bow or a knot, and then I work it so that I get more of a square knot. And just gently, so because I don't want it to be real tight, I do want it to be more square. Just work with it till I get it the way I want it. And then I turn it over and I try to do the same with the other side before I pull it tight. And this is kind of folding up on me. So there we go. I'm not really happy with that one because it's the ribbon is kind of folding up, but let's trim it down. And I always trim on an angle. And then I would take a glue dot. Let's bring those in here. And put it right in the center. So there's the bow. I'm not really sure I like it, and it would be easy for me to take off. But that's on the inside of this card. I did the same. I cut a piece of 1/2 inch, and again matched the designer series paper, and it's just a piece that's left over from when you cut down that whole 12 by 12 piece. So I had very little waste in that 12 by 12 piece, because you saw that I used it at the bottom of the insides of the cards. So just going to run this along the edge here. And then it's just a little longer than I needed, so we're going to trim that off. I'm going to move this all off, and we're going to bring in all 6 cards. I'd love to hear what you think of the design and the paper. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's a quick, easy way to make 6 cards, but also how to use that paper that has that wide white strip in the middle. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and please join me again on Friday evening at 7 when we're going to have some more fun. You have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me.